Every single New York Knick is catching hell right now for not being good enough when maybe they weren't good enough to begin with as a unit. Has anybody ever considered that?
I mean, they're not NBA Finals, were they? I mean, it just doesn't seem like a complete team to me. Like, their starting lineup has just been, they've just been so reliant on their starting lineup for so long. Eventually, something's going to break. That's what happened last year. They're fortunate that nothing's happened yet. And I think that this, when you look at both teams on both sides of the conferences between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers, these are 9-man, 10-man rotations, and they don't lose a step or a beat when those guys come in there. And so, yeah, I think that the roster is just flawed, and it's something that we talked about weeks ago. Was like, what would it take for the Knicks to have to make a move? Like, say, if Giannis becomes available, even though he said he hasn't, isn't officially made that known yet. I think we've seen enough. I've seen enough that this iteration of Bridges, OG, Cat, whatever, is not an NBA championship caliber team. You got to go get somebody else that can raise that tide. And I think that you got to, if Giannis or somebody like that becomes available, I wouldn't say Kevin Durant. I don't know that he's the right fit, but Giannis, I would make a play for that because this team it just doesn't have enough outside of Brunson in the clutch moments. And whenever Cat is out of foul trouble, it's great. But he just has that. I don't know what it is about Cat. He can't get out of his own way. He has these moments where he takes over, but then he'll just take himself out of the game with some stupid foul. And that kind of lack of discipline is not going to get you to a championship. And call it Tibbs problems, call it defensive woes, or not having enough depth. There's just a whole bunch of problems that I think it's pretty glaring that the Knicks need to do something else.
It's amazing that they've gotten this far. I think we need to say that. And this is not me saying this as the guy from Detroit. But let's be honest
here. You got the 313 clearly on your sweatshirt there.
It's a clothing brand. It ain't got no Pistons logo on it. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. So as we say that, Isaiah Stewart and Jaden Ivey didn't play at all. Jaden Ivey didn't play at all. Hadn't played since January. Isaiah Stewart played in game one, didn't hardly play after that. They probably don't get out of that series if the Pistons are whole. And we're having a much different conversation about this entire thing. But I think this is good for the Knicks in the long run because it lays bare all the things. I think it's laying bare, man, Jalen Brunson, he's a lot like Harden and Luka Doncic in the way that he is so ball dominant that the numbers look great, especially in crunch time, right? But is that the way that you want to play? Is that the way... Is that level of ball dominance, playing at that spot on the floor and being reliant on contact and everything else, is that the way that you can win a championship? I've always said no, right? I've always said, and the fact that if you're going to have him and Karl Towns gets off when Jalen's off the floor, not because the two don't have requisite chemistry, which they may not, but they operate on the same spots of the floor.
Right.
Karl catches at the top of the key. Karl catches top left of the key. Where does left-handed Jalen Brunson have the ball at? The same exact spots. And because Jalen Brunson's going to dribble the ball and not going to be the guy running off, staggers and everything else and making the defense account for him, he's going to dribble, then your offense is not going to look like that compared to the Indiana Pacers, where if we look at Tyrese Halliburton, who looks like, prototypical point guard, but he spends a lot of time off the ball, right? With Nembhard there and with TJ McConnell there. Like, he spends enough time off of it where he can come and get it and then get off of it once again to find Pascal Siakam, to find Miles Turner, to be able to make plays from different parts of the floor makes your offense so much more dangerous rather than you're staring down the barrel at the top of the key, begging Jalen Brunson to save you or begging Karl Towns to get hot from 25 feet. It's a recipe that does not equal success. And I think that's where the Knicks have to look really at roster construction and say, did we build this team the right way?
Yeah, there's just way too much dependency on Brunson to play hero ball or Karl-Anthony Towns to supplement that. And I think you're right. I think you can liken it to a James Harden Luka kind of situation in terms of like, are you stifling the offensive development by having so much dominant ball control by one person? And I think Bridges was brought in there to be a 3-and-D spacer. Like, he was supposed to be a complimentary guy that can get you those buckets whenever Brunson got in trouble. And I think OG Anunoby's growth has been more substantial than Bridges. So yeah, I don't think Bridges has been worth the value of his trade yet. And I think that's something that the Knicks are going to have to look forward to. Like, do we come off of this, or can he get better and improve in certain ways that it's going to make this team better, or is he going to be more of the same? Because to me, it seems like he's kind of just Brooklyn Bridges, and he forgot about how to play defense a little bit, and the shot selection. I mean, he's actually, as I'm looking at his shot chart, like, he's actually above league average in the playoffs around the rim. He just doesn't take those shots enough. And I don't know if that's the yips or some version of the yips as you were talking about, but like his shot profile has changed since the days that he was in Phoenix. And if you could go back to that guy, then I think maybe they'd have a little bit more success and less reliance on Brunson, because he could step up. But at this stage, we've seen it all year long. And I don't know that this is something that we can confidently bank on going forward. Like, oh, this Knicks team is going to be able to do things in its current construct. Because as you said, like, I had them losing to the Pistons in the first round anyway. So
right,
and then Jason Tatum goes and tears his Achilles. So like, things have been breaking the perfect way for the Knicks to get to this point. And I just think that they're facing a dose of reality.
Breaking in the perfect way for them to lose in 5 games to a team that's not Boston or Cleveland. Like, Mikal Bridges in 163 minutes in this series is going to the line 7 times.
He was doing that in the regular season too. Like, he shot like less than 2 free throws a game. Like, that's unacceptable.
Apparently it is acceptable in New York because they tolerating it.